Hey everyone, Lane here for Maker's Lane. It's that time again. Time for a review video. Let's go. Okay, so what is in this box? It is actually something that I've been looking for a while. So in the past, I did a review video on a Lincoln welder that I still currently have. Still a great piece of machinery, but I needed a little bit more. I was specifically looking for a plasma cutter, one that could do like up to like 1/4 inch steel, cut through 1/4 inch steel. Nothing too crazy. Well, I actually had a company reach out to me, this company. The company's name is YesWelder. They are a new company, a newer company. Basically, this is a prototype welder. Sorry, I need to rephrase that. It is a prototype MIG, Tig, and then a plasma cutter. And I think it has one other function too, but basically it's, from what they described to me, it's 5 different types of welding / cutting pieces of equipment all in one. From what their website looked like, it's really high tech. It looks really cool. Obviously I haven't seen it in person, still in the box, still got the thingies on it. So I haven't even looked at it yet. It literally just came today. I'm pretty excited. I honestly just want it for the plasma cutting, so if it does that and works, I'm great. But if these other things work too, then, you know, even better. Let's get the box open, see what's inside of it. This is a prototype, so they only made a limited quantity of them. I'm not positive that when they do release the product, it will look exactly like this as far as unboxing it. This is just what they sent me. So that might vary, but regardless, all the stuff they sent me I think is on their website. So let's get this open, see what it comes with, see what it looks like, and then we'll start welding / cutting and see how it goes. Okay, so here it is. First impressions. My favorite color is red, so to me this looks sick as shit. This is the side. They said this is the prototype, so it's got a little bit of issues as far as fit and finish go. Okay, so this is where you put all your MIG wire and stuff like that. Pretty cool. Let's see what's on the other side. Nothing. Man, 5 seconds, I've already broken it. That's cool. We got a bunch of little stuff. All right. So anyways, the other stuff that came with it. So this is for MIG. This is for plasma. I'm guessing that's for TIG. Yep, that's for TIG. Okay, cool. Came with some hoses. It came with a 110 cord. Yeah. That looks like it's a stick weld. So yeah. That's for stick welding. Got a little brush. They always come with these things. They're kind of garbage, throw them away. You got the clamp. Looks like it converts to 110, or sorry, 220. I don't know what's in here. Pressure gauge. The back of it, you got your on-off switch, MIG gas, cutting gas. So that's gonna be the shield. Okay. All right, so that's all the stuff that comes with it. I did want to just say, so this, you'll notice that this doesn't say anything about paid promotion or anything like that, because technically they didn't pay me, and I'm going to leave it as a non-paid promotion because I am going to give this my honest feedback as far as what I think. All they did was they gave me the welder. They didn't pay me to do anything. They asked me to release it in a certain amount of time. This is basically just me reviewing the welder. I'm really happy they reached out to me. They've been around since like 2006, I think it said. So they've been around a while, but I think in 2018 they said they just got into like making their own welders. Initial thoughts as far as how everything comes and packaging and what you get. I think starting off this is gonna be $500 for early bird special. The release date is like mid-July time frame. So I'm trying to get this video out by mid-July, so this video probably will be right around the time it does actually come out. Now that that's out of the way. So the one thing off the bat that you're gonna need that, I mean, it's not their fault, but as a newbie welder that I am, I didn't realize I needed a shield gas. So I had to go pick that up. The smallest one you can get, at least here in the States, is a number 1 size tank. Yeah, it says like number 1. It has the number 20 on it, and the next size up says 40. I don't know what that pertains to. So this guy right here though, for the tank and to fill up is like, in my area, is like $280. That's for the tank. If you already have a tank, it only costs like $45 to fill up, which isn't that bad. If you get a little bit bigger tank, the bigger you go, the cheaper it is. Like the next size up, which is like double this size, cost $50 to fill up. So it's more beneficial to just buy the bigger tank because your fill-ups will cost less. Along with the welding tank, you're gonna have to get one of these regulators. These run about $100 too. So you're looking at like $350 just to get started with this welder. So yeah, but my initial thought of this is awesome. What I really wanted it for, what I've been looking for, is a plasma cutter. And I mean, even a cheap end plasma cutter runs like $200, and you also have to buy gas and the regulator and everything like that. So you're looking at $500 right there for a cheap plasma cutter. I have used plasma cutters in the past. I know how they work. For the most part, I know how to use one. I am by no means an expert at all, but I just know the general use of one. So the first thing I want to do in saying that is hook this up to plasma cut. Yeah, so I have this piece of metal right here. It's roughly an 1/8 inch thick. It's kind of the thickest metal I've used around here is with my other welder. So I kind of want to start going thicker, but my welder doesn't really weld much thicker than this. So I'm hoping this YesWelder will weld thicker, but I may have to hook up 210 before that will work. So starting off, I'm gonna set it up for this, and I'll go through the whole setup process as far as hooking up the plasma. These things are really simple. So if you look at the front here, you can see underneath it has some symbols. So it basically tells you where everything needs to go. So because I got a prototype one, all the instructions were sent to me in a digital form. So there's no instructions that came with it. That's why I'm not reading from it or anything like that. It's because they sent it to me all on my phone. So, but I'm gonna run through it, see if I can get it. If I can get it, it's probably easy enough for most of you out there to get. So yeah, let's get started cutting some metal. All right, so what I'm doing now is a little bit of a leak check. Basically, I just pressurized all of this system from here to the welder itself. I just want to see it. I'm not like super thrilled about this connection here. This fitting's a little bit small, so I had to kind of clamp down pretty tightly with the hose clamp. Not the biggest deal, it's just shielding gas. It's non-flammable, so I don't really have to worry about it blowing up, but still don't want to lose it, seeing as how it's like $45 to fill up this small can. So I'm gonna let it sit here for about, I don't know, 10 minutes and see if this one right here drops down. Okay, it's been about an hour, and it looks like we dropped about 2 PSI. I'm fine with that. It is just shielding gas. I don't think I can really get much better at the current time. So let's go ahead and put the rest together. Well, holy crap, guys. If this does nothing else, I am happy with this. Look at that. There. And there's the cutoff piece. And you can see that's like a 1/4 inch thick. So the settings here, 110 volts, 30 amps. If I were a guessing man, I would say that if you use that adapter and put it on 220, you probably can cut through some thicker material. Honestly, I didn't look at the instructions at all to set this up. It's pretty intuitive. You basically just, you have the clamp here, which hooks up at that end there. You have the nozzle for the plasma cutter. It's got this cool little thing to like keep you from like accidentally like hitting on the table. Really great design. It's really comfortable in my hand actually. It's got this like rubber piece here, so it's like really nice to hold. It's got this tip. It took me a second to get used to, but I figured it out. And like most plasma, you kind of got to start before like it'll actually start cutting through. But that is literally just one pass there. So it does a really good job of cutting through 1/4 inch material. It was really easy to set up, nothing to it really. So and I'm kind of digging this display here. So it's got like this home button. It's got this home button here, and then you can like cycle through. Here's all the different stuff. There's stick weld, 2 different types of MIG welding, one with flex core, one without, and then it has TIG. So now we'll get to see kind of how that MIG weld part works. That's what I'm gonna work on next. I think I have everything, but I may not. Yeah, so let's go ahead and MIG weld. So since we are MIG welding, I have to get into the side of this. Alright, so now I got some better light on here. So this specific guy right here does not require any gas for it. So how you feed it in, you definitely, or you for sure need to have it come down. Don't have it come up above because you'll end up getting bound up. And then they've made it actually pretty easy to put this on here. So you shove this wire. So you shove the wire into this little thing and it comes out right here. There's a little groove in this guy right here, and then you then push it into this hole, or this guy right here. So you just push it into that, like so. Now we can hook up this guy. So it's got a big thing here. Boom, that hooks up. Make sure you close this guy. So that's open, so this thing. So basically this wheel has to have constant pressure on this bearing here, and how you do that is with this guy. So push this down, pop up, and if you notice that when you hit the trigger on this guy, when you hit the trigger, if you notice that this wheel is not moving when this wheel's moving, or it's moving slower than this is, then you need to tighten up the pressure or maybe loosen the pressure depending on what's going on. But yeah, that's basically the setup. Again, this wheel I have is no shielding gas. So you have 2 different settings on the front here. I'll show you. So I had it on plasma cutting. I hit home. So this is stick weld. So this is MIG with gas. See the gas tank? So this is MIG without gas. So I hit select, and it goes through all the automatic adjustment. So yeah, I should be able to start welding now. I got it to come out the end. It takes a little bit because you gotta go through the whole cord with this, obviously. So one thing I did notice, I tried to start welding on this and it wouldn't do anything. You actually have to switch the clamp to a different, it's the actual 3rd one over. It shows you on the screen which one you want to put it in. It has a negative sign. It has it on the screen, and I'll go over the screen in a little bit now that I better understand it. We're gonna go ahead and run this. It's a 8-inch piece of steel. I'm just 90-degree welding it. I actually want to clean it first, just so we can get a good weld. Okay, so I cleaned it. Now I'm just gonna run a bead all the way across. All right, so you may have noticed kind of on here, there's a slop at the end. Stupid mistake on my end. I forgot to clean the surface of where it was clamped, or where the clamp was at. And so there was a little piece of, or there was a little bit of rust on it, so it wasn't getting a connection. So if you get stuff like that, that is due to it not getting a good burn. If you look at this weld, so this right here is actually a really good weld, good amount of penetration. It's not bubbling out and it's not convex in, which means we got a really good amount of penetration. So as you can see in there, that shows you, and on the bottom here, we have good penetration. All right, so here's this main screen that shows everything. So I have it on the highest volt setting. This is your feed speed, and this is how much amps. So these two are really the ones that are crucial. This is basically just so that you're burning on the right material. Because these are directly correlated. So your feed speed, which is that, is directly correlated to your amps. So up here, that little guy right there, if I turn this up, you notice how it changes to 3/16. I turn this guy up, it goes to a quarter, turn it back down, 3/16. So this is actually 10 gauge, this piece of metal up here. So I was running at about, I think 115. Maybe a little less. So the thickness, the amperage, and the wire speed are all directly connected. The volts is the only independent thing you can change. Now I'm gonna go get the stuff and we can go ahead and try and TIG weld, and then I'll maybe try my hand at stick welding. So now that I've finished the MIG welding part of it, so I got plasma down, I got MIG down, both of them awesome. Again, I really like the clamp here. I mean, it's got a lot of clamping pressure, so I mean, I can pick this up actually pretty well with this clamp. Put it on here, whatever I need to do with it. So the clamp's really nice on it. The stick itself is, so this guy itself is really nice. It's got like this little thing on it, so it's really comfortable in the hand, easy to use. Just another little quick side note. So on this guy, all these settings. So what's great about this is, so here's my old MIG welder, and basically it had your speed feed, and then it had your volts. So I didn't have the opportunity to change amps. I think all the amps are changed in here. So you change the amps and the feed speed with this. So the higher your amps, the more feed you got. And then you just had basically 4 settings for what material you're using. So if you're doing something really thick, you would put high and then 2. If you had something, you know, if you wanted to go down 1, you would go to 1, and then you would go to low 2, and then low 1. So basically 4 settings. Where this one has a crap load of settings. So already I'm very impressed with it overall. So now that I've MIG welded and plasma cut, I'm gonna run to the store real quick, pick up everything I think I need to TIG weld, and then we'll TIG weld some more material and see how it is. All right, so I'm back from the store. So another screw up on my part. Not really screw up, but so I went to go get some more tungsten. Nobody around me sells tungsten. I ordered on Amazon. I'll leave in the description below. Actually, all the stuff that I use for this, I will leave a description below. A lot of this stuff, as far as consumables go, not included, which is understandable. Most of the time when you buy a new welder, none of the consumables are included. But I did get stick electrodes for stick welding. I'm gonna be honest, I've never stick welded before. I think it's pretty easy. You just kind of like point it in and like go. I need to get some more material ready, so I'm gonna play with the plasma cutter a little bit more. Cut this piece up, or plasma cut this piece, and then re-weld it. Yeah, let's go ahead and play with the plasma cutter again. Okay, last bag that I have to get into. I've gone through basically everything else in here. Well, I guess I haven't done the TIG welding yet, but fine. Second to last bag. This one's pretty easy. Just a freaking clamp. So there's 3 connections at the bottom, and basically this goes into the positive, and then the other part, or the other clamp, the one we've been using this whole time, goes into the negative. So just set those up. I think this just goes in here. So it's got little grooves in this thing. These little grooves, so you can like put it here, you can put it here, or you can put it up like that. So I think I'm gonna do this. I think if I touch, it'll start welding. Well, it's not the worst weld I've ever done. I've never stick welded before, so that's my first time trying. You definitely need to get the amps right. I'm running it at 110 and 110. I think that's right. I don't think stick welds are as good, and you have to like be really practiced to get a good stick weld. It's really decent and again, super easy to set up. As far as if you're a professional stick welder, I mean, it was pretty easy for me. I think stick welding, you can actually go a lot thicker, so I actually had to like tone this back because I had it at like 135 and it blew breakers. So that is another side note. If you're on a 20 amp fuse and you got a bunch of other stuff, this might blow a fuse. But so now that I have successfully done basically three and a half out of the 5 different things that there are here. The last one obviously is going to be the TIG. That I won't be able to do until tomorrow. Once the rods come in, I will start on that. Until tomorrow. All right, I got my filler rod and my tungsten pieces. I got these off Amazon, so none of my local places had these. No big deal. So, little tungsten rod, and then all this is the filler rod. I need to go make this to a point so that it arcs better. So it looks like that. Okay, so now we need to set the tip up. So here's the tungsten rod we just cut with the tip at a point. There's the end. And this is the stuff it did come with. I'm hoping I have everything, but there's a possibility that I still don't. So here's 3 different fittings for the different tip sizes that you have. Mine is going to be the smallest one because I am not welding through very thick stuff. Screws on top of here. This goes down inside of here. And you got your rod, which goes inside of there. And it's sticking out just a little bit, kind of like so. And this screws into here. This back piece goes on here. Again, making sure this is just barely sticking out of the end here. And there we have it, all set up. Okay, so for the TIG setting here, how we're gonna set it up. So we need to ramp this up to about 110-ish. So it tells you, so the clamp goes to the positive, TIG weld goes to the negative, and then you gotta hook up the gas. Down here you can see positive and negative. So this is the ground cable here. So I'm going to hook this to the positive. And this is the cable for TIG itself. So it goes in there, and then you twist it all the way around. So here's where I have a little bit of an issue. So you can see this one's almost hooked in. You gotta unplug this one. So this is for the plasma line itself. So you just unscrew it from here, pull that out. All right, and now I can rotate this all the way around. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It just means I can't have both the plasma and the TIG set up at the same time, which it doesn't really matter anyways, because the ground wire, you have to move the ground wire around. So again, just to go over, so this is for your MIG. Basically, you can leave it in all the time. Well, everything tells you what to do in the setup here. So like if I go to plasma cut, it just so it says to put the clamp, this guy right here. So it says to put the clamp there. And then, so let's go to, this is stick weld. And then it says to put the clamp on the negative, and then the stick itself goes to the positive. So negative, positive, same thing. So yeah, it basically tells you on all of them what to set it at. But again, I really like this screen. I haven't really messed with the settings at all. So now that we got that set up, let's start TIG welding. All right, that was definitely the cleanest weld. I'm gonna be honest though, I really don't like TIG welding without a pedal. I've never TIG welded without a pedal before. When you TIG weld, you don't, I don't know. I just never done it before and I didn't like it. It was the cleanest weld, like I said, but it welded. It did a good job, but the penetrations, not what I'm used to as far as TIG welding. I can't make really nice looking welds with it, which is kind of what I was wanting with TIG weld. That's the one thing that separates TIG welding from basically everything else, is you can, you know, make really, really nice looking welds. I'm not sure that this is capable of that. I could be wrong. It could just be me and my setup. Like I said, I'm more of a novice type welder, but it just, I mean, I'm just not crazy about it. Like, it's got that convex. So this basically sinks in there and it's kind of supposed to come out so that you know you got a good weld in there. So again, I'm not the greatest welder in the world, and it's been a minute since I've actually TIG welded, so I may have to play with this a little bit more and try and figure it out. Functionally though, everything works great. It was really easy to set up, really easy to figure out. It might just be some fine tuning that I have to figure out. I'm just really used to a pedal, and this isn't a pedal. So if you are used to a pedal type TIG welder, this does not have a pedal. So if you're planning on using it for that, don't get it. But if you have welded or TIG welded, if you have TIG welded without a pedal before, it's a great welder probably, because you probably know exactly what I am doing wrong. All right, so that's all 5-ish welds that I've done. So I guess now I'll do an overall feeling of how I feel about everything. Okay, so final thoughts and overall review. Again, I'm really thankful that YesWelder reached out to me and sent me this welder. It's honestly been a joy to actually review this thing. Really, there is nothing that I see that's really detrimental for the price point. I did talk to them, and they told me that after the early bird special that they're running at the beginning, they will be selling these for $1,000. So if I add that in my thoughts of like overall performance of this welder, so if you break that down, it's basically $200 for each part of the equipment. I have a Mig welder over there that's $270 by itself. Granted, how they call it 5-in-1 is they make Mig. One of them they say is flux core arc welding, and then they actually have Mig where it has the inert gas. So that's how they distinguish between the two. Even if you say it's 4-in-1, still $250 per item, and in the quality. So so I would say overall this is like a mid-range welder. It's not the top end, like it's not like a Miller or Lincoln welder. Like, because it is 5-in-1, they basically have to, you know, in order to keep the price down, they have to cut some corners. And you know, the corners that they did cut, to me as a beginner, maybe novice welder, I wasn't able to tell. Which means it's a great value for what it is, because if I was an expert, I would probably run into some things like, oh, why doesn't it do this, or you know, it sucks at this. But I'm not an expert, and I'm thinking the clientele that they're reaching out for, this is not for the expert welder. It's for the person who wants to be able to do a bunch of different stuff and not have to buy each individual component. And for that, this is an amazing product. I love what they did with the grips on all of torches themselves or welders themselves. That they feel awesome in your hand. They don't feel cheap. It doesn't feel, overall, it does not feel cheap at all. Even this case is like pretty stout. I mean, it's plastic, but it's thick plastic. So it's not thin plastic. Nothing on here feels cheap. It's got braided hoses on here, very thick hoses, really good amount of insulation. Everything about this, especially if you're on the early bird part of it, for $500, this is a crazy good deal. Like, ridiculously good. For $1,000, it's a pretty good deal. So the only thing that I'd have to make a comment about is to tell you, like, make sure that you get a tank ahead of time and all that stuff. All the consumable stuff does not come with this, which, again, it's not expected. It's consumable stuff. So if you're looking out for a welder out of the box, ready to go, this doesn't have everything you need. You gotta get the stuff. For the MIG welding, you gotta get some sort of wire to feed in there. If it's TIG, you gotta get the tungsten and the gas. If it's the plasma cutter, you gotta get the gas. If it's the stick welder, you gotta get the sticks. So basically, all of the consumables you're gonna have to get. I'll go as far as to everything that I got for this. I will link in the description below. That way you can just ahead of time just get it. But yeah, I'm really happy with the overall performance of this welder. I'm glad they reached out to me. To have this in my arsenal is gonna be huge as far as, you know, future projects that I'm gonna do. So again, really appreciate YesWelder. Thank you guys for reaching out to me. If you guys have any questions about anything, I'd be happy to answer. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned as much as I did. Until next time, I'm Lane from Maker's Lane. You guys have a good one.